healthy food. We know plants are good for us, but our next guest says they're downright magical.
Yes, and she's here to share recipes from her latest cookbook, Plant Magic. Please welcome best-selling author and registered dietitian, Desiree Nielsen. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you so much.
All right, so before we dig in, let's start talking about what makes plants so magical.
You know, I think when you're new to plant-based cooking, you're thinking so much about, oh, well, what am I not eating? I'm not eating cheese, I'm not eating meat. But when you really start opening up to it, there's this world of flavors and textures and colors. And so many people find that they actually have a more varied, more diverse diet. And so I love showing people that plant-based cooking can be just as fun, just as flavorful as anything they're used to.
Okay, I love that.
Well, you're starting with something super fun, and I feel like it will be a hit with kids. And you say it's actually a breakfast for people who don't think that they have time for it. This is brownie batter breakfast toast. Does that not sound incredible? And now, what makes this a healthy start to the day? Because it doesn't sound super healthy.
Sounds healthy to me.
Right? I mean, what's wrong with brownies? So I wanted to emulate that rich, fudgy texture of brownies. And for someone who's like, oh, I could get a piece of toast. I could get a piece of toast in the morning. This is actually made from hemp hearts. Hemp hearts are incredibly high in protein and omega-3 fatty acids and minerals. So you get that little fudgy chocolate hit, but it's actually incredibly nutrient dense.
I love that you're recommending chocolate for breakfast, but
Yes,
this also ties in
course.
nicely with something you practice called positive nutrition. So explain that idea to us while we devour this.
Yeah, a lot of people, you know, particularly online, so much messaging around nutrition is really negative. Don't eat this, don't eat that. Fall into these really strict boxes when that's not actually what makes us healthy. Your body has requirements for certain vitamins and minerals and nutrients. And so I like to focus on what to add. It's a far easier message to swallow, really. And so when we think, okay, let's figure out how to eat more vegetables. Let's figure out how to get those hemp hearts into our diet for omega-3s. And when we take this messaging, nutrition and taking care of yourself feels a lot more joyful and it feels a lot more positive.
That's amazing. Well, you're speaking my language because obviously I'm all about pleasure. And you say this is an often overlooked component of wellness, connecting pleasure and food. So tell us more about that.
It is. You know, I was so lucky to grow up in a house where food was the metronome of life. You know, my grandmother would cook breakfast, and as soon as that was done, she would start preparing lunch. And so we always gathered around the table, and food is so much more than just nutrients. It is culture, it is connection, and it's joy. Like, how amazing is it to go out with your friends and have this long evening over dinner, right?
Best. No matter who pays for it.
Right, no matter who pays for it.
Absolute best.
Yeah. And so I think we need to realize that that also applies even when we're trying to take care of ourselves. If we have some sort of health concern we're addressing, or we've got some sort of health goal, we shouldn't lose that pleasure piece because that's inherently way more sustainable than when we're trying to, you know, do this fad diet for 4 weeks and then fall apart.
Which never works.
Never, you know, please, as a dietitian, the fad diets never work. Like, just cut it out.
All right, so let's keep the pleasure going. So we're gonna try carrot and za'atar pancakes. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, so let's dive in.
So za'atar is one of my favorite spice blends. So it's very typical to Levantine cuisine. And it's because there's a wild oregano that grows in that area. So this is a little bit of a cheater blend with basic pantry herbs and spices. And I love a fritter, a pancake. It's such an easy way to grate a bunch of veggies to get those in. And then the nice green sauce just got like garlic, that freshness, that acidity. Cilantro. You can add these as like a sandwich filling. They can be, you know, on the side of your plate. But I also love serving, if you're doing a snack platter for everyone, you can put this as part of a snack spread and then everybody can dip. You can do smaller ones so people can just dip.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
It's so delightful. Let's talk about protein, because I know a lot of people who are concerned in making that shift to more veg-based if they're not getting enough protein. What do you say to that?
One of our biggest misconceptions about protein is that protein is a food, AKA meat. Protein is a nutrient found in all sorts of foods, and it's abundant in plants. You simply need to know where to get it. Because I find as a dietitian, people remove the meat from their plate and not realize they have to put a plant-based food that brings that protein back in. So just a half a cup of tofu is 10 grams of protein. Tempeh is also really rich, but also the whole spectrum of lentils, chickpeas, and even hemp hearts. 3 tablespoons of hemp hearts has 10 grams of protein. And 3 tiny little tablespoons, that's incredible.
I had no
You
idea.
can absolutely get all the protein you need on a plant-based diet.
All right, so when it comes to protein, what are the guidelines that you recommend then?
Yeah, so it's really different for every person, their activity level, their body size, their age. A really easy rule of thumb if people are trying to figure it out for themselves, because there's so many questions about protein, is you can take your weight in pounds, divide it by 2, and that will give you a nice approximation of the grams of protein per day. And then you just split up. So a 150-pound person would be about 75 grams of protein, give or take. So try 20 to 25 at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Snacks can fill in the rest, easy.
That's great. I think everyone here loves a sheet pan meal. It's super easy, but you've brought something that I didn't even realize, right? Yes, so good. But this is a meal that I didn't even know could be done on a sheet pan. So this is a gnocchi dish done on a sheet pan. Talk about this.
It is a gnocchi. So we think of boiling gnocchi, but actually you can pan fry. I prefer it pan-fried or roasted. It gets this really chewy texture and a little bit of crispiness on the outside from the oil. And this was inspired by actually kind of the flavors of like a Spanish sausage. So paprika and cumin, and we do the kidney beans, which when they roast, they split up, they get all doughy and like really, really cozy and comforting. And then a nice light vinaigrette. So it's essentially a little, alternative to a grain bowl, something a little bit different, Spanish inspired.
Oh my gosh, I have not stopped eating since you started talking. This is so good. Okay, but we have one more thing to get through.
Yeah.
Final dish is a sumac roasted eggplant with maple tahini drizzle.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
I mean, what's not to like?
Yeah.
I am a huge eggplant fan. My family is not. And so I'm always making sure that I'm developing recipes with eggplant for my books, because
that was good.
When I eat them, my family doesn't take them away from me, so I get the whole thing to myself. And with that maple tahini drizzle, that's what you want. It's just a little sweetness, a little nuttiness, a little earthy, and just so simple to make. And it looks really beautiful. And if you like that style of eating where there's just a bunch of plates on the table, and I love doing that, a bunch of different vegetable dishes. Yeah, some nice bread on the table, so easy.
Yeah, fantastic. First of all, anybody who doesn't like eggplant should be served that, because that is incredible. So good. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Maybe a little something. Even though I finally stopped eating. All right, so Plant Magic is available now, and good news for our studio audience. You're all going home with your very own copy.
Who's with me, but it can often feel like cooking is a chore, something that we gotta rush through at the end of a long day to get dinner on the table. But our next guest wants to change all that.
She knows the satisfaction that comes from slowing down and actually enjoying our time in the kitchen. Here with recipes from her debut cookbook, Savoring Meaningful Vegan Recipes from Across Oceans, is Marielle Benekisa. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you. Marielle, bienvenue, welcome, welcome.
Merci.
So tell us how your book teaches us to slow down and savor our time in the kitchen.
Yeah, so we kind of are, we live very busy lives. We have so many things on our to-do list. We're always rushing through, and oftentimes cooking is the thing that kind of skip on, want quick and easy recipes.
Yeah.
And with Savoring, I really wanted to encourage cooks and readers to take their time, enjoy the process of cooking, prepping the ingredients, putting them all together, and assembling dishes with love, care, and attention.
Ooh, that's nicely said. I love that. So you're going to take us on a culinary journey through dishes that highlight your cultural influences, starting with shuba. So tell us about shuba, what it is, and why it means something to you.
So shuba is what you're seeing right here. It is a Russian layered salad.
It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
It's a salad.
It's a salad.
Okay.
It is a salad, so there are different layers to it. At the bottom, you have a mixture of seaweed and tamari. Usually, shuba features some sort of smoked herring or smoked fish. But because I'm vegan and all these recipes are vegan, I replace it with seaweed, and then you have a layer of grated potatoes, chopped onions, grated carrots, and beets.
So, I mean, it doesn't look like a salad, so why do you call it a salad?
I call it a salad because it's kind of like a variation of, a potato salad. It has elements that you could see in a potato salad, and on top of that, there is a dressing. So the dressing is a mayo dressing that is kind of in between all of the layers.
That's what I'm trying to look at the layers and figure everything out.
Yes.
This is so delicious.
This is amazing. Now, because you're vegan, how do you make that vegan? Because mayo is normally eggs and oil.
Yeah, so the mayo is actually made with soy milk, some sort of neutral oil. So you could go with canola, you can go with avocado oil, and then you have a couple of spices in there, some mustard powder, some salt. and it all comes together in the
delicious.
I
blender.
could eat that every day.
Delicious.
Thank you. I'm excited about this next dish because you say it's important to your childhood. So tell us
Yes.
about this one.
So the saka saka is a dish I grew up eating. So my dad is Congolese, my
Okay.
mom is Russian, so that's where the
Oh,
dish
wow. This is so interesting.
Yes, and grew up in Ukraine. And when I was in Congo, because I was born there, we would have saka saka. It's a dish that's really near and dear to my heart. It's very comforting, it's hearty. It's made of a mixture of cassava leaves and spinach. It cooks on the stovetop for a couple of hours. And that's where all the flavors kind of come together. And then at the end, you fold in some peanut butter, you have some chopped green onions, and
There's some heat.
there is heat.
That's
Ooh,
a nice
delicious.
heat. Are you okay with that? I
So
know-
far, so good.
Yeah.
I don't know what's
Nice
wrong with me,
heat.
but so far, so
far,
good.
so good.
And what do you like to serve your saka saka with?
I like to serve it with coconut rice, which you're having on the side. And it's really good with that. Or you can have it also with plantains or fufu, which is kind of like a bread alternative that's very popular in many African countries.
Okay, so Jess mentioned the heat. So how can you adjust the heat, dial it up or down in this dish?
So the saka saka has some a Scotch bonnet pepper, which is very, very spicy. And especially if you're not used to it, what you can do is you can either remove the seeds of the Scotch bonnet or use a very small portion of it, like a quarter of it. But if you like a lot of heat, you can put the whole thing in.
Amazing.
If you like.
Delicious.
So after growing up in the Congo, your family moved to Montreal. So I feel like we can't have you here without talking about your version of poutine.
Yes, my version of poutine.
Okay, so obviously, if it's vegan, it's going to differ from the classic. Take us through what you've done.
So in this poutine, you have sweet potatoes, which take the place of the usual traditional potatoes that you find in poutine. You also have vegan feta, which replaces the squeaky cheese. And you have a homemade gravy that's made out of dried shiitake mushrooms that are cooked together with some butter, shallots.
Wow.
Thyme.
This is fantastic. Oh my gosh.
So the mushroom gravy is amazing. We know you can buy it, but you say make it.
You should make it.
Okay, how?
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, you take the dried mushrooms, you put them with some water, and then you kind of let them cook together and let the mushroom flavor kind of infuse into the water, and then you use that as the base for the gravy, and then you cook some shallots down with lots of garlic, thyme, and then you blend it all together into.
Oh,
it's gorgeous.
this is great.
Now, you say the one thing that you miss the most as a vegan is seafood. And your final dish sort of satisfies missing that. So you've replaced it with something. Tell us about this dish.
Yeah, so the last dish is what you see right here. It's a Kalamata olive rosé linguine.
Ooh.
Kalamata olive
Yes.
rosé linguine.
Yes. And so it features lots of olives, lots of garlic. There's like 6 cloves of garlic in that dish. And some tomato sauce. And it's really comforting. And because of the olives, there's like that brininess that you would
Right.
find in like
Yeah.
seafood dishes that I think is really good.
And where's this from? Like, is this your own creation?
This is my own creation.
Oh,
It's inspired by
beautiful.
flavors that I enjoy.
I can taste the wine. What wine do you like to use?
I use Sauvignon Blanc for that. I always recommend to kind of go with something that's a little bit on the sweeter side, nothing too acidic, because that's gonna overpower all the other flavors.
Oh, wow, this is amazing. And you say that you use unsweetened soy milk in this sauce. So what other milks might work?
So you can use oat milk as well. I wouldn't recommend going with something like almond milk because it's a little bit thinner in terms of consistency. You want more of the richness of either soy milk or oat milk, and that's what gives the dish the creaminess.
Beautiful.
So 6 cloves of garlic, I'm loving that. But once in a while, if you want to up the ante on this dish, you want to make it even more luxurious, you substitute in 2 cloves of black garlic.
Yes.
So what does the black garlic do that normal garlic doesn't?
Yeah, so black garlic, it has more of a sweet flavor. It's a little bit more robust, and it adds that luxurious element, I find, to the dish. And I love to do that whenever it's like a Friday night and I want to have this dish. But I'm like, you know.
Take it from a Thursday to a Friday.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for being with us and taking us on this culinary journey. Just incredible.
Well, people tend to
to think of Korean food as being meat and seafood driven, but you might be surprised to find out that many dishes are actually vegan.
Here to share some of his favorite plant-based recipes is the one and only Chef Sang Kim.
Hi, thank you very much, ladies.
We love having you on the show, not just because you feed us, but today, can you start off by telling us a bit about the history of vegan food in Korean culture?
You know what? Every time you ask somebody Korean food, there's three things that come to mind. KFC, Korean fried chicken, right?
Right.
Pork bone soup, and of course, Korean barbecue, right? But what a lot of people don't know is that Korean culture has always been historically a Buddhist culture. And so what you had over many, many centuries is, nuns and monks that adhered very, very closely to veganism. And then, of course, with the popularity of temple food recently, what you had is, the ordinary people like me who really, really went to it and said, can you actually make things like mushroom taste like meat?
Yeah,
right?
It's a big question.
So, so that's basically what the history of veganism in Korean is. Still alive, very much.
Still alive.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna try some traditional vegan dishes that you prepared for us. And we're gonna start with mushrooms, and you're gonna get us working in the kitchen. So let's get started. What should we do first?
Okay, first of all, let's turn on our grill. So
How do we do that?
Yep.
Okay.
Turn it over, right?
Like a medium heat, you think?
Sure, let's do that.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
If
I
the
have fire.
butane, yours is fine.
Okay. Take the mushroom?
Yeah, so I want you guys to take the mushroom. I've already cut them,
Thank
right?
you.
And what I've done is I've cut them into about 1/2-inch slices, right?
Gotcha.
It's gonna get it pretty meaty. What I want you to do is dip it into the marinade.
Okay.
Flip it over, right?
Okay, dipping.
And then let's add it to the grill. And let's put a few of them on. In fact, let's put all of them on.
All of them?
Okay.
Okay.
And these are king oyster mushrooms?
King oyster mushrooms, they're also called king mushrooms, they're also called trumpet mushrooms.
So are these the only mushrooms that kind of have that meaty taste when you cook them, or any mushroom can have this?
This one in particular.
Okay.
This one is beautiful, and it's really interesting because, you know what, I wish the entire audience can try it. Maybe they can try yours, Jess.
Yeah,
but,
I'm happy to share.
but it's because this one, with this marinade, particularly tastes like beef.
Well,
It
tell
tastes
us
like
about
beef.
the marinade. What's in it?
So the marinade is just your classic kalbi marinade, right? Kalbi, of course, is short rib, short rib cuts of beef, and what it is, of course, is made with a soy sauce base. It's got sesame in it, of course, onions and garlic and all kinds of other goodies, but the most important part is this.
What
What is that?
This is Asian pear.
Oh,
Yeah.
those are delicious. I've
Yes,
had those
very,
before.
very crunchy, but
Yeah.
also so juicy.
Yeah.
Natural tenderizer and natural sweetener. So this is the key ingredient in my mind when it comes to making the marinade.
And how long should you cook these mushrooms for? Because mine are sizzling. Maybe I have too much sauce on them?
No, I think mine are sizzling too very, very quickly, as they shouldn't be so quickly, but this is a great grill. So
This is a very fast grill.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this should be on a lower heat, perhaps?
Yeah.
And cook a little slower?
Mine's,
You know-
so I'm gonna flip mine.
Yeah, let's do that. Why don't we flip?
And
flip?
I want to know about the different ways we can serve these.
Okay, but before we do that,
Yeah.
Jess, let's add some of the other things that I think should go with it, okay?
Oh, we're gonna add more stuff to the grill. Okay.
So there's green onion and there's white onion.
Okay.
So put all of those in
Yeah,
there?
let's throw those on there as well.
Anywhere on the grill?
Sure.
Anywhere we can find room?
Anywhere where there's heat.
Okay.
My inability to cook on camera is gonna show up today, boy. Listen, look at this. Do not judge me. I'm just
No,
throwing
your
things everywhere.
arrangement is beautiful. Like,
Is
look,
it?
look at her. She's making like a stir fry over here. But yours is very pretty.
Thank you very much, Chef. I don't feel so bad anymore. Okay, we're also putting all those
Okay,
onions.
so yeah, so all we're gonna do with the onions is just char them, okay?
Okay.
So just turn them over,
Yep. So I can start turning these
char them,
over.
and I'm gonna turn off the heat because it is hot.
Listen, I didn't want to say anything, but it is hot in here.
It's hot. So, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a wrap.
Okay.
Koreans love wraps, okay? And
Can I turn off this burner?
yeah, why don't we do that?
I want to get mine a little crispier. But no, I'll turn it off. I'll turn it
so
off.
turn
Okay.
yours off as well, because if the butane explodes, it's not my fault. Okay, so now, so what I want you to do is let's take a piece of one of the mushrooms.
Okay, I'm gonna take this one.
Place it on top of the perilla leaf, because we're using a perilla leaf wrap.
Okay.
Take a small white onion and a small green onion.
Okay.
And then,
Ooh, this is hot.
it is hot.
This is hot, honey.
Why is everything so hot? So,
Okay.
and then eat it.
And you just fold it
roll
up and
that
eat it?
Yeah.
and eat it?
Okay, wait. Can we?
Oh my gosh.
Can we blow on a little?
Oh God.
This is not pretty. Do not put the camera on me.
Off from me.
But can you taste that meatiness in
It
it?
is so good.
Yeah, it's very
You guys, it tastes like meat. The texture is incredible. That's wonderful.
That's really good. My mouth is full.
Oh yeah, of course. My mouth is full too. Wow. Next, you've made us rice noodles in a soybean broth. Tell us about this one.
Okay, so this is a classic summer dish, okay? And what it is it's somen noodles, right? So very, very thin, like vermicelli, right? And what you have is chilled soybean broth, right? And the chilled soybean broth, I could tell you how to make it.
Please do.
Yeah, how do you make it with
So
the
this is
soybean?
how grandmothers used to make it. I'm not sure that's the way kids this generation do it anymore. But what it is you take soybean, right? And what you're doing is you're putting it in water, putting it in the fridge overnight, right? And then finally you're dumping it into draining the water, putting it in boiling water, cooking it up. Very important that you don't cook it for more than 3 or 4 minutes, because then it turns really, really mushy, right? Bath water, cold bath water, then what you want to do is you want to just take the skin off, peel the skin off the soybean, right? Then you want to puree it with pine nuts and sesame seeds, right? And then add water according to how watery you like your soup. And then you cook your noodles, and then of course you add it to it. Today, that's not what kids do, of course.
Okay.
Right? They go to
kids do
they go to your grocery store and buy organic soy milk,
Right.
And then pretend that they made it.
But
They pretend.
They pretend
this
really
is
well.
such a delicate, beautiful flavor.
Yeah, try it.
It's really
No, I already had
lovely.
some of that, but I want to move on to the next one because
Yeah.
it looks really delicious. Scallion pancakes. Tell us about this one.
So pajeon, pa means green onion.
Okay.
And then jeon means pancake.
Pajeon.
Okay. And Koreans, we don't eat pancake like the way everyone else does, right?
Okay.
So none of that syrupy, like artificial. No.
It's more
Anyways,
savory.
So yeah. So what it is, it's a savory pancake, and this is a classic street food. So basically, what you have is
Sounds good.
you have APF. Right? With corn flour or cornstarch, right? You're making a batter out of it, but you want to make sure that the batter is pretty runny, because you're using vegetables, and the vegetables are going to cook very, very quickly, right? And you want it very thin. Add the green onions. Here, I've also put a little bit of red and yellow pepper and some carrots.
Delicious.
3 minutes one side, flip it over, 3 minutes on the other side, and you
That
have...
couldn't be easier. But
That's so
what about
delicious.
this dipping sauce? It's delightful.
It's just very, very simple soy, sesame, right? A touch of Korean chili pepper called gochugaru, and you have your dipping sauce.
Sang, I feel like we could truly make all of these at home and feel really good while we do it. Thank you so much, as usual. It's been wonderful.
Welcome back, everybody. Our next guest is a chef so talented. He just spent a year as the personal chef to our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. He's here to highlight Cambodian cuisine with some of his favorite plant-based recipes. Just in time for Earth Day, please welcome the chef behind Vancouver's vegan restaurant Nightshade, Shanti Yan.
Welcome to the show.
So happy to be here.
Oh, we're going to dig into all of this, and you're going to teach us all that we want to learn about this. But before we begin, tell us a little bit about vegan Cambodian food.
Well, Cambodian cuisine is just so regional, and it dates back to centuries past, where we celebrate religious ceremonies, culture, and whatnot. And 90% of Cambodian people are Buddhist, and some of the practices are to do no harm, which applies to animals as well.
I love that. I understand also that your grandmother played a really pivotal role in your passion for cooking. Can you tell us a little bit how she influenced your career?
Yes, when my family came from Cambodia as refugees, we settled in Windsor, Ontario. And there, my grandmother armed me with mortar and pestle, and I couldn't stop since then.
Oh, so adorable.
Okay, so
Oh my God, Jasmine.
We love to eat, so let's get to this beautiful
Yes,
spread. Starting with the
yes.
dumplings, tell us how you make them.
So these dumplings are filled with, they're normally made with shrimp and chicken, but today I've prepared it with mung beans and cashews. So dig in there. There's a beautiful turmeric crepe in there and some edible flowers because Cambodian cuisine, we love beautiful food, fragrant foods.
Oh my
yes.
God.
Yes.
Oh, man.
This tastes like Filipino spring rolls. There's a lot of flavoring. This is beautiful.
The mung
Nostalgic
bean,
Southeast
too.
Asian flavors with a textural experience as well. The cashews, the flowers, the fragrance, the herbs.
So good.
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
So it's so easy to make too.
We want to eat some more, so I'm going to ask you this question. What was it like working with the Prime Minister in the kitchen? What was that like for you?
Oh my gosh, it's a once in a lifetime experience, you know, and the story is like kind of full circle as well. Pierre Trudeau welcomed a lot of Southeast Asian refugees, including my family, in order to have a better life and to truly live the Canadian dream and to be able to, once I got the call, and to be able to cook for the Prime Minister, his kids as well, it's just it's a fulfilling experience.
So how did it go the first time you cooked for the Trudeau family? Were you nervous?
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Yes, I was so nervous. I was brought into the kitchen and I didn't know where anything was, so I raided everything.
pantry?
The pantry,
Just
the
like,
cabinets, the fridge, took everything out, and I felt like I was on like being taped on one of those black box competitions on the Food Network. So just put everything out, and I didn't know what I was gonna cook. But by the time I started cooking, I just made him something that I would love to eat on a stressful day, which was a bowl of noodles.
Can't go wrong.
nice.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
And I made a portion for myself. So.
Good for you. Let's get back to the food. I want to know about these pancakes. I understand that they're from leftover rice.
Yes, it's such a fun way to use your leftover rice because we always have a little bit left in the little corner of our fridge. So we're essentially making a focaccia dough and incorporating our cooked rice. So the yeast kind of breaks down the grains of the rice over time, and it's a little bouncy like banek and gives it that chew kind of like tteokbokki. But this is just a little twist on a Cambodian classic called num pang chien.
It does remind me a little of tteokbokki.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the sauce?
The sauce,
The
yes.
sauce is a black bean, and I used a little bit of vegan nyuk cham,
Delicious.
which is made with mushrooms.
I mean, the sesame, there's sesame seeds. Is it sesame?
Yes, toasted sesame seeds for that
Beautiful.
smoky, unctuous kind of like really insatiated like notes.
It's beautiful. Okay, we have another dish to get to really, really quickly.
Yes.
It is a cross that you call between a gazpacho and a ceviche. So what do you call it and what is it?
I'm so excited to give you this dish. It's called krao chnang, which in Khmer means out of the pot. And it's a type of soup. Well, soup and a salad, like most Asian cuisines, like pho and whatnot. You have usually a bouquet of salad.
Yeah.
So go ahead and take this carafe of soup made with lime juice, lemongrass, and ginger. All of those things that are healthy for you, like a tincture, you know?
Okay.
The most beautiful
It is
spread we've
beautiful.
ever had on the social. It
Oh,
was just
thank
absolutely
you.
stunning.
Thank you,
So
thank
great.
you.
I love the ginger too. I can smell
Yeah.
it.
And we have some wild forage gorse flowers as well as lotus roots, again for a textural
Oh, that
experience.
is so fresh.
Yeah.
Hey, so the Prime Minister isn't your only famous connection, though. You were also interviewed by Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop when you lived in Montreal, and you served a dessert made with activated charcoal and hay.
Jeez.
Why
Louise.
hay, and what does hay taste like?
So hay is one of those like really special ingredients that chefs use to kind of make it a more special like experience. I was able to draw notes of caramel and vanilla after it was roasted and steeped, and I brought it to the table in the form of an ice cream paired with beer stout and carob. So the moment she took a bite, her eyes opened, and I'm like, got it. Get it.
Okay, so for our last dish, you have put on a spin on a classic Cambodian dish. It's a caramelized rice pudding. And tell us about this dish and how it came together. Oh my God.
Yeah, so this is like, yes, it is a rice pudding, but I also call it a Cambodian creme brulee.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're taking num triep, which can easily be found all throughout.
Oh my God. Oh, sorry. This is to die for.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Do I even need to explain it?
Yes,
No.
you do. Yes, you
No,
do.
of course, of course.
So it's called num triep, and you can find this in street venues and celebrations. This past weekend was Cambodian New Year. So in celebration of that,
Happy
I put a
New
little.
Year.
Thank you very much. Akuntadan, akuntadan.
Oh my God.
What is this?
Was there rice in here?
There's rice. It's made out of
Yeah.
rice. It's
It's like
glutinous
rice pudding.
caramelized palm sugar, coconut milk. I put a little bit of ginger, toasted sesame, and these are the red currant flowers foraged in BC.
I'm sorry, I'm just like in
And what gives it
heaven.
this color? What gives it this color?
The caramelized palm sugar.
The caramelized palm sugar.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You can use coconut sugar, which is kind of like slow releasing in energy, and yeah, it's really nice.
When did your cookbook come out?
Yes.
I hope, oh my gosh, I'm so bad. I hope that I can have that out by 2025. It'll be the
Okay.
very first in-depth Cambodian.
You're gonna have to come back on the show.
We need one.
Yeah, absolutely.
We mentioned you are the chef behind the vegan restaurant in Vancouver. It won the Michelin Bib Gourmand Award, which is massive. So congratulations to that.
Thank you.
Tell us, for people who aren't familiar, what is that honor all about?
The Bib Gourmand Award is given by the Michelin Guide, which is huge, and it's given to establishments that have high quality cuisine for an affordable price. We all love affordable foods, and it's necessary. And to have worked in Michelin star restaurants in Spain and all over the world, and to receive this, again, another full circle story, and to receive this type of award is so fulfilling in my career.
Well, we completely understand why. This food is phenomenal.
Thank
Cynthia,
you.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for
Thank you.
being here. Thank you. Wow. Our next guest is a YouTuber who creates vegan recipes with attitude. She's here today with small dishes, that is, from her brand new cookbook called The Edgy Veg Easy Eats, Quick, Tasty, Vegan.
Please welcome the Edgy Veg herself, Candace Hutchings, back to the show.
Hello. Thank you. Nice to see you. Good to see you.
So, Candace, everybody loves a charcuterie board. They're great for parties. And today you're going to show us how to build one that is fancy for fall and also that is vegan.
Yes.
And you say the best place to start is with dips and condiments.
Yes.
Why is that?
So first step, get a board.
Okay,
You can
board.
use whatever you want.
We're gonna
I've
build one
thrifted
together.
One
Yep.
before, a tray, whatever you want. But then you want a variety of things. So with dips, I kind of like to put them on the board first, so you have kind of a reference point that you can work around. So we have some hummus. You have like a pumpkin seed dip.
Okay.
We have an apple butter here, and you can kind of create your own little work of art here. We're making art with food.
All right.
Great. Okay, you say a lot where people go wrong is that they don't have enough protein. They lack protein on their boards. So why is this such an important step?
So the last thing you want is for your charcuterie board to look like crudité, right? We're not making a veggie board here. And there's so many options that people don't know about. So you can take like a vegan sausage and cut that up and throw it on the board. I have some cubed smoked tofu here.
Smoked
And
tofu.
It's delicious. It kind of gives you that bite that cheese does, a little bit of smoked as well for that protein. Yeah, it's nice, right?
Nice. It's the smoked.
Yes, right? And so you can kind of put that on the board as well, anywhere that you want. And then we're going to kind of build around that. But that's the one thing I find that people they lack creativity because they don't know.
That's right, okay. So next up, of course, is the cheese. And so let's talk about how we place the cheese and talk about vegan cheese.
Well, the first thing is that, with the rise of plant-based eating, we now have amazing cheese options that we didn't have before. And you can buy them at most grocery stores. If you want something super specific, like there's this truffle cheese that I love that I have to go to the health food store to go get. But most grocery stores have a really good balance. So this is the next thing we're gonna throw on the board. I like to kind of pair it with whatever kind of sauce or protein that you have here.
Yeah.
So getting like a nice soft cheese is always great.
Okay. Soft cheese. Okay, great.
Okay, you can throw that on the board.
Okay.
Are we allowed to eat while we're doing this?
Go for it. I mean, I like to eat while
know
I'm
what the
cooking.
rules were around this.
You're building them, but I also noticed something really beautiful here. It looks like a mixed herb and garlic chèvre, and you say this is a really cost-effective way.
Yes.
So tell us about this.
Well, it's good.
This rule.
I don't know what
Any
this is.
great-
What did I just eat? It's really good.
What did you just dip?
This one.
That is a cheese, a vegan cheese.
Oh my God, okay, go on.
Okay.
So a lot of the time, these vegan cheeses can be quite expensive. They're pricey, it's a new product, not everyone's buying it. But for less than $3, you can actually make it at home. So what I have here is a vegan version of like a herbed chèvre. So it's just tofu, some miso, salt, to really get that nice umami flavor in the food processor.
I need some of
And then
that.
you can wrap it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can wrap it in some herbs, or, if you're doing like a holiday board, throw some cranberries in there, cinnamon, and you've got a nice vegan alternative.
This is really good.
This is really
See, vegan cheese can be delicious.
You made this yourself?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's
I
how
gotta
easy.
make
A lot of
this.
people think you have to buy everything. You can make this for
I gotta tell you, I was a little
bit.
bit hesitant about this segment because I was like, the cheeses are blowing my mind though. Okay, every cheese needs a carb to accompany
Yep.
it. Where should we stick those?
All right, so now I like to kind of stick those next to whatever cheese you have on the board, next to the dip. So you can do
Then
some
why don't you
crackers.
just make it? You're
I'm just
doing
making-
great.
I'm sorry.
You can do crackers. You can do like baguette crisps, which are some of my favorites. You can even get like a nice little cup and stick breadsticks in there, and then you have like some height to your board. These are these really nice little Italian crackers here.
They
You
are
throw
really
those
cute.
on.
Okay.
Look at us, we're making a little green board.
You just want to fill it up so it's
really
nice
good.
and abundant. We're going for abundance here.
Abundant.
Fruits and veg are next.
Yes. So the great thing about nature is that it's colorful. So you have lots to choose from, and depending on what the theme is of your board, so we're going for like a fall harvest situation here. So carrots are great for that, and you just kind of take those and fill in any large gaps.
Oh, we got problems
okay.
here.
We got problems. Okay.
I don't know, they got room. Okay, here we go.
Okay, you got it. You
What
got
we're
it.
going for here is abundance, fall harvest abundance. So
love
you
it.
just
I
kind of
love that.
pack it in there. You want it to look nice and full as opposed to sparse.
I like what
so
you're
full
doing
is
here.
fun.
I like it a lot.
Right?
Okay, then we fill in the gaps, then he garnishes. Is
Yes,
that
so
correct?
we have some dates, we have some mini girkins, and you just fill in all the
olives.
gaps. Olives, some pickled onions, nuts, and just kind of stick them, whoop, lying there. Kind of stick them wherever you have a hole.
Okay, stick the nuts. Stick the nuts in here.
Stick
Can we
the
go
nuts
out
in.
on the board? Can we venture out?
are going
Yeah,
for it.
We're
anything
going.
that, doesn't fit on the board, you can stick to the side. That's a
Or
great
eat
place
it.
for dips too, or in your mouth. And also herbs. Don't forget herbs, edible flowers. You can kind of throw those on top. It gives
on.
a
Oh,
nice
that's really
little
pretty.
garnish.
That's really, really
And
pretty.
even whole fruits.
Yeah, we
Stick
did
those on.
that.
There you go.
Oh my God, I love that.
all right.
Okay, board looks done. We can't fit anything else on our board.
Beautiful.
So we're now going to move on to your next dish. And you say, this is a workhorse for those who are lazy. I can relate for that. If you're a kitchen slacker, you've got a lazy lasagna,
Yes.
which sounds amazing, smells amazing. What is this? How'd you make it?
All right, so sometimes you want lasagna, but layers and time.
thank you.
Yeah.
So this is all made in one pot. So you've got your marinara, which honestly, you can just buy your favorite one that you want. You don't have to make it.
Okay.
And that saves time as well. Throw it into a pot. You would just break up the noodles, throw that in there, throw the cheese in there, spinach, whatever's in your fridge. And then you can actually just top it with cheese and bake it. And you're getting
Blowing
the
my mind.
flavor of
Oh,
lasagna.
this is really good.
really good.
Without all the work and the layering and the tediousness, and it just kind of comes together really nicely for a great weeknight.
It is so good. We have to get to this really quick. It's so good. We got to get to this
Really
last one
good.
really quickly. Let's talk about soup. So this
Yes.
is also great. This is a labor-saving lentil soup. What makes it so simple?
So again, everything in one pot, and this is delicious just the way that it is from my cookbook, but it's really great for taking up anything that's in your fridge
Yep.
that you just want to get rid of, and it's great for those weeks where you have like nothing but Prosecco and like your pantry staples, so who doesn't always have lentils in their pantry, right?
Oh my God.
Throw it in there and good to go.
Candace, thank you so much for feeding us today.
Always a pleasure.
So dishes. So inspiring. When you think of vegan cuisine, your mind probably doesn't jump to French food. But our next guest wants to change that. After spending 4 years in France, she settled back at home in Toronto and used the inspiration from her time abroad to write her debut cookbook.
And she's here today with a brunch spread fit for any occasion. Please welcome vegan food blogger and new author of the Two Spoons Cookbook, Hannah Sundarani.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Delighted to have you.
Hannah, I can imagine it being very easy today, particularly, to be vegan in many parts of the world, Toronto included. But Paris, what was that like?
I know, it's a bit of an oxymoron, right? Like vegan, France, they don't really go hand in hand. I will say it was a challenge at times, but honestly, we shared the same foundational passion for cooking. And
point.
I have to say, I don't think I would have been the cook that I am today if it weren't for my time abroad.
So you found a way to work it out
Yes.
and become a better cook. I mean, that's a great story. We're gonna start with croissants. You have made them, they look delicious, but I feel like croissants is a bit tricky, on the trickier side when it comes to
Yeah.
baking. So can you share some tips on how to make them and teach us how to make them look pretty?
Yeah, so croissants is definitely a little bit more involved, but it's well worth the effort. So the process of making croissants is you have a layer of dough followed by a layer of butter. And it's this process of folding it over and rolling it out and folding and rolling. Now, I've already done that process for you.
Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome. So all we have to do today is cut them into triangles and make them look like pretty croissants.
Okay. Is this what we're using?
So you're gonna use the sharp knife
Okay.
at the top, and you're gonna cut from corner to corner to make 2 triangles.
Okay.
Oh, like
Yeah.
interesting. Okay.
Exactly.
I'm gonna sort it
Perfect.
out like
All
that.
right, here we go.
Okay.
Good job. Okay.
Okay.
Now you're gonna take one of the corners and you're going to flip, do you mind?
No.
You're going to flip it like so
Okay.
and bring the long end towards you.
Okay.
So did you see?
Like
yeah,
that?
Flip it like so and bring the long end towards
Oh,
you.
cool, cool. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Now you're gonna take this bottom and you're gonna tuck it in and
Yeah.
you're gonna roll all the way up to the tip.
Okay, here we go.
There we go.
A little tuck.
Yes.
Doesn't hurt. Oh my gosh, that's it.
There we go. You got
Look how
that
cute!
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
You
goodness.
did such a good job.
I love it. I'm doing the other one.
Teacher.
I'm doing the other one just because it's fun and it feels nice.
Listen, well, Cynthia practices her little roll up, and I tried one of the croissants. I am very curious to see how it compares to a croissant made with butter. Like butter
Yeah.
croissants sort of go together really nicely. So, how do you make croissants good without them?
That's a very good question. So for this recipe, we substitute traditional butter with vegan butter. And you guys, I'm sure you're familiar with the term margarine.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So back in the day, that was really the only option for us vegans. However, these days, there's lots more available, lots more that are really similar to butter. So for this recipe, I've used a cashew and coconut oil-based butter, and I absolutely love how it turns out. It's so light, crisp, flaky, exactly what you expect in a traditional croissant.
It's lovely. I mean, I would just, I have to speak. Sorry about that. I was gonna keep going back for more. It is lovely. I would never know.
I know,
I would
that's
just
the
be
thing.
like, this is a unique croissant, but I would never know that it was
And
vegan.
honestly, I feel like it just goes to prove that you can veganize anything.
I'm sorry, I'm still chewing. We're gonna talk about a chia pudding recipe next that you say is super quick and simple. Tell us how you made it while we try it out.
Yeah, so my chia pudding, as you said, very quick and simple. Basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna take some chia seeds, you're gonna mix it with almond milk, you're gonna put it in the fridge, wait 30 minutes or overnight, and in the morning, as you can see, you've got this beautiful pudding consistency.
Wow.
And is it equal? Is it equal chia seeds to
No, it's
nut milk?
1/4 cup of chia seeds to 1 cup of almond milk.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna let Cynthia try this. And you mentioned this was made with almond milk.
Yes.
Can you break down once and for all sort of the milk alternatives out there and how you think each one is best used?
Yeah, of course. So for this recipe, I have used my homemade almond milk, which I also have for you guys to try.
Okay.
I love to use it for cooking and baking. In terms of how to use them, it really comes down to your personal preference. For me, I really like almond milk. I also use it to make the croissant here. You can also use oat milk for the chia pudding. It's a great substitute and has really grown in popularity over the years. Soy milk is a high protein content, so it's really good for green smoothies like this one that you see here.
Okay.
And then coconut milk, although not featured here, it's a really good substitute for cream in recipes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Get the consistency right. This is probably the best almond milk I've ever had.
I know, it's homemade, it's
That's,
so good.
Did you have an almond milk maker?
So I just use a nut milk bag, or you can use a kitchen
nut,
towel.
Did you just say nut milk
A nut
bag?
milk bag. I don't have one here, but if you don't have a nut milk bag, you can just use a kitchen towel. You just basically soak some nuts in advance. You blend it up with some water, pass it through a kitchen towel, and squeeze, and you've got this gorgeous milk. I know,
And
it's
then
so
42
easy.
hours later, you have this.
No, it's not 42 hours.
I'm gonna do it.
I swear, it's so easy.
Just lastly, is there a sweetener in this as well?
I put a little bit of maple syrup.
It's lovely. Okay, so you've also made this stunning breakfast spread. We've kind of ruined it because we picked up the chia things.
That's what it's here for.
But it's so lovely. So talk about how we put together. We're planning a brunch and we want to put together a show-stopping brunch board.
Yeah, so for me, I always like to keep 3 things in mind: taste, texture, and color. So with the taste, we've got a little mix of savory and sweet. So you've got your savory croissant with your sweet muffins, your sweet chia pudding. It's a nice balance between the two. Then for texture, we've got the crispy flaky croissants. We've also got our beetroot hummus on toast, adds a nice bit of crisp. And then we've got the soft chia pudding. You enjoy that with a spoon, while here you're eating everything with your fingers, so it's a different experience.
Textures are everything. I love
Yeah, and then finally is color. Nothing waters the palate better than a beautiful, colorful spread. And so So adding an array of different colors of fruits, you can add a pop of color with some drinks, and you're good to go.
This is so pretty. I
Yeah,
just
and
love
it's
that
such an
little
easy way to
display.
add color, for sure.
Now, listen, these muffins look super, super delicious, and we're gonna give them a taste. While we do, I understand they weren't made with the vegan butter like the croissants, so what did you use instead for these guys?
Yeah, so with the muffins, I mean, sometimes I like to use vegan butter in my baking, but sometimes I like to use what I have on hand in my pantry. So these muffins were made with olive oil.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah, it's so easy to do. A lot of people have olive oil already available in their pantry, and it's a healthy fat, so you can feel good about using that as a substitute.
And these don't taste. You said that there is almond
Flour, oat flour, and whole wheat flour.
Because it's not too dense. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing, a lot
It
of
is
vegan
very
muffins.
light.
Yeah, it's really not. I absolutely love that recipe. It's so light and delicious and perfectly sweet.
Exactly, not too sweet.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, last up, you made a dessert treat and the always delightful chocolate mousse. I think people might assume you need to buy a special vegan chocolate, but you say the hot chocolate is actually vegan.
Yeah, so this is my secret tip for you guys, is dark chocolate is actually vegan.
Love it.
Yeah, so when you're at the grocery store, look for dark chocolate that's 70% or higher, and then you're bound to know that it's vegan.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you tell us about this mousse de chocolat and what's in it? while we
Yeah,
try it?
so I really wanted you guys to try this mousse au chocolat because this is the recipe that convinced my husband that we could go vegan.
No way!
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah, so I really wanted to share it with you guys today. It's so simple. It's made with a base of melted chocolate and actually silken tofu.
God.
I know, it's so good.
This is something else.
You're just whipping up the tofu?
Yeah, you just blend it with some silken tofu, which is nice and bland in flavor, which is what we want because then the chocolate really stands out. You add a little bit of cocoa powder and then some maple syrup and almond milk.
I'm making this. This is so. I'm
making it.
It's so good.
Sorry, I was yelling at Cynthia. We're both gonna make it. Hannah, thank you so much for sharing this vegan brunch spread with us, truly.
Aw, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
It's a delight.